Good day, students. Today I'm going to discuss to you about the decision theory, in which it is divided into two parts, the decision table and then the decision tree. So this is your subject teacher again, Dr. Riza Misi Narciso. So we are going to discuss specifically the decision process and operations, fundamentals of decision making, decision tables, types of decision making environments, and decision trees. And when you complete this lesson, you should be able to first create a simple decision tree, build a decision table, explain when to use each of the three types of decision-making environments, calculate an expected monetary value, compute the expected value of perfect information, evaluate the nodes in a decision tree, and create a decision tree with sequential nodes. So, we have here 6 decision process in operation. Okay, so since it's a process, you need to conduct your decision making in an orderly manner. So first is clearly define the problem and the factors that influence it. Okay, you need to consider that. Second is develop specific and measurable objectives. So your objectives must be smart, it must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bounded. And you need to develop a model. So it's either you use decision table, decision tree, or others may use cost-benefit analysis. And then number 4, evaluate each alternative solution. So in making a decision, you have to consider alternatives or choices. So it's been suggested that you have to identify 3 or more alternatives. Dili siya advisable nga duha lang ang i-identify nato nga alternative kasi bias namang good daan ang isa ana sa gi-identify nimo. So mo nang dapat 3 or more, and as much as possible it must have a cost benefit analysis para maka-decide ta objectively kung asa dito asa alternatives ang naay dako o kanang balik sa imuha. And then next is select the best alternative, of course katong dakog benefit nga mabalik sa ato. And then lastly is implement the decision and set a timetable for completion. So usually ang timetable for completion is portrayed on a Gantt chart. So you are already aware of a Gantt chart by Henry L. Gantt. So naana dito as a part sa last nato na big picture nga discussion. Okay, so now let us discuss about the decision table example. So, ang full description ani nga problem is naa sa SIM or naa sa ebook regarding Getz products. So, Getz products, guys, nag-atubang sila o kanang situation in which nga kailangan nila mamili kung unsa ang ilahang buhaton. Is it first, mag-construct sila og large plant? Second is mag-construct ba sila og small plant? Or third is do nothing lang? Okay, take note that it is not constant to always consider doing nothing. Okay, dili na siya kuan constant nga in every alternative imuha jud na siyang ibutang, dili jud na siya. Okay, so take note for example sa present nato nga nahitabo karon sa pandemic with regards sa mag-continue ba ang education or not. Okay, so dili pud pwede nga ang sa Department of Education ang ilahang pilion nga alternative is to do nothing. Okay? Kay dili man pwede nga mag-stop lang ang ato ang learnings. It's because of that natay na nga kuan kanang na-experience karon. So we need to do something instead of doing nothing. So that is why pwede ta nga mag-venture into online blended learning or online learning or distance learning. So, natin mga alternatives than the traditional type of learning. But then doing nothing is or should not be part of the option. So, in the states of nature, guys, natay gi-consider diri nga duha ka buok nga gi-identify sa company. So, ang matag company, pwede sila nga mag-identify og kanang at their own whim kung unsa ang ilahang state of nature. If we say states of nature, guys, these are uncontrollable factors that need to be considered. Kay basin katugong kuan pares atong gi-discuss nako sa forecasting nga stable ba or unstable ba ang market, for example. So lahi jud ang imuhang action whenever stable ang market or if ang market is experiencing recession, for example, or ang economy is experiencing that. So lahi pud jud ang ato ang business process ana. no, not just the normal kay. For example karon that we are experiencing pandemic, and then daghan kaayog mga nawad ag trabaho, for example naa sila problema sa ilahang mga income. So if patasan nimo ang prices nimo sa imuhang mga goods or sa mga services, many could not afford sa imuhang increase of prices. So dapat na jud pud tay i-consider ana. So those are the states of nature that we cannot control. So another example is ang weather condition, diba? So weather condition, muulan or mag-init, for example, dako kayo na siyang effect labi na kung ang imuhang company is involved in construction of a certain building or mga highway project, for example, it actually affect the completion of your project. So those are the states of nature nga pwede nimo nga i-identify. So kinsa man ang mag-identify ani gani? So it is the business itself. So given na siya tanan guys. Okay, so dili na mo mabalaka ana. So ang mag-identify pud ani mga values diri sa states of nature is ang business pud mismo. Okay, preferably it's the expert or it's the kanang management ang mag-identify on what could be the possible profit, and kung successful siya or favorable ang market, and then what could be the possible losses that they could get if unfavorable ang market. So let's have this example. For alternative 1, constructing large plant, pag favorable ang market, you can earn $200,000 daw. Okay, according na siya sa gi-identify sa business. Okay, so pero kung unfavorable gani ang market, ang pag-construct nimo og large plant, magka-loss daw ka og 180,000. So asa man ang 180,000 nga loss? Para na siya atong mga nagamit nimo nga mga materyales, nabayad nimo sa mga labor, for example, kato siya nga mga expenses nga imuhang nakuha in constructing a large plant. So that could be your possible loss. While kung mag-construct kag small plant, you can earn 100,000 nga profit for favorable market. Labi na nag-construct kag small plant tapos nagamit yun nimo siya, so magka-earn ka ana. Then pag unfavorable ang market guys, naa kay expenses nga loss nga 20,000. So mo na siya ang imuhang nagasto in constructing small plant. Okay? Pag do nothing naman, based on the three alternatives, of course, 0 ang favorable and 0 pud ang unfavorable kasi wala man kagibuhat nga action with regards sa katong situation nga naa sa problem. Okay, so in the decision-making environments, natay tulo ka environment nga gina-consider. Okay, the first decision-making criteria to be used in the decision table is the decision-making under uncertainty. So in this environment, there is a complete uncertainty as to which state of nature may occur. So under this decision-making, it's up to the personality of the decision maker if he or she is a optimistic, pessimistic, or yung safe lang ang gusto niya na decision. So ang second naman is ang decision making under risk. So in the decision making under risk, guys, there are several states of nature that may occur. So each has a probability of occurrence. So when you are going to decide under risk, there are probabilities for the state of nature that should equate it to 100%. So meaning, dili equal or dili pantay ang iyahang probability. So for example, sa ato ang current situation karon nga pandemic. So 80% pananitan ang i-identify sa expert nga unfavorable ang market, and then 20% nga favorable ang market, in which it can be believable sa ato ang panahon karon nga we are experiencing this pandemic. Okay? So, again, ang mo identify sa probability that should equate into 100% is it's the expert, consultant, or analyst, or even a management or owner inside sa company. Pero, it must be analyzed well. Kasi dili mo kung pwede nga, dili po ta mag-identify o mag-identify lang pag basta-basta o probability. Dili po siya pwede. And the last one is the decision making under certainty. So in this decision making criteria, you will actually acquire an information, a perfect information coming from an expert or analyst outside your company. So now, of course, kailangan nato nga magbayad sa iyaha og honorarium or stipend. Now, ang ato ang paggibayad sa iyaha is sapat na ba? Or kanang dako ra ba siya kaayo? Or kailangan nga kanang pagamyan? Or kanang dili pa kadihado sa gibayad nimo? Okay, in the decision making under certainty, state of nature is known. Kaso lang, dili ka confident, for example, to do it in your own. So that is why, kailangan nimo og kanang kailangan nimong idea coming from those experts outside or mga external consultants nato. So, ang ato ang mabalaan sa decision making under certainty is ang gibayad ba nato is enough ba, sobra ra ba, or kulang ba siya. Okay, so, to discuss further this three decision making environment, let us first discuss about the decision making under uncertainty. So in the decision making under uncertainty, we have three criteria to be used. So as what I told you earlier, ang decision making nato ani guys is nagdepend siya sa personality sa decision maker. So if you are an optimistic decision maker, you would always go with the Maximax. Maximax finds the alternative that maximizes the maximum outcome for every alternative. So meaning, you are going to pick the best of all the best. So you are going to pick the outcome with the maximum number and then the highest possible gain. So that is the Maximax. So kung ang personality nimo is very positive, that everything will go according to the plan, for example, so even though 80% ang chances nga unfavorable ang market, but still you are positive, so you settle to the 20% na favorable ang market. So meaning ang gigamit nimo, or you have this optimistic decision making in which na ang gigamit nimo is Maximax. And then we also have this what we call Maximin. So this is viewed as a pessimistic decision criteria. So if you are a pessimistic decision maker, diri ka usually mabilong sa Maximin. Okay, usually decision maker under Maximin guys always settle for the worst case scenario. Kay para manggut sa ilaha, pinaka-safe man jud gud nang i-consider nato ang pinaka-worst kay para mapangandaman nato siya. It's part of their devil's advocate. So it find the alternative that maximizes the minimum outcome for every alternative. Kumbaga, unsa ang pinaka the best sa tanan worst. So mao na siya no, kung sa ato apod nga kuan na atay painting nga nakita niya, ato ang na-assess nga ang painting, uy, pangit na ning paintings diri oy. Pero na kay gusto nga i-retain, sige, unsa may pinaka the best sa tanan pangit nga paintings nga nakita nato. So that is an example on deciding by using the Maximin. So it actually tackles about the least possible loss. Kung magka-loss naman lang ta, asa man kung magka-loss ta nga gamay lang ang ato ang loss. Okay? Then we also have the equally likely. It find the alternative with the highest average outcome. So, naay mga decision maker guys na gusto nila safe sila always. So usually, kani nga decision making is ma-fall siya under equally likely. So you are going to pick the outcome with the maximum number and assumes each state of nature is equally likely to occur. Okay? So, meaning, gitreat niya ang mga data into equally or in average. It's just like when you are going to compute for the equally likely sa like katong sa moving average nga nagkuha tag average or mean niya. So that's the equally likely. Okay, let's have this example. We have this table earlier. So in order for us to get the Maximax, Maximin, and equally likely, you are just going to identify what is the best maximum in row, minimum in row, and row average. In deciding using Maximax and Maximin, you don't need to compute anything. You are just going to identify the best and the worst. While ang equally likely, this would be the time na mag-compute tayo. So, to get the Maximax, you are just going to identify what are the maximum payoff that you can get for each alternative. So, for example, alternative 1 is to construct large plant. So, ang maximum payoff is 200,000. Ang small plant naman is 100,000, is ang do nothing is 0. So, evidently, asa ang pinaka the best dira would be your choice or option nga pilion nimo. So, ang pinakadako, of course, evidently, it would be the construction of large plant. So, if ever nga mag-decide ka under uncertainty using Maximax, then you go right away with constructing large plant. Pag Maximin naman, you are just going to identify the worst, the best among the worst payoff in each alternative. Example, alternative 1, the worst is loss of 180,000. Constructing small plant, loss of 20,000. Then, ang do nothing naman is 0 kasi you did nothing. Okay, so asa man ang pinaka the best dira? Kanang magka-loss ka or kanang 0? No gain, no loss. Okay, so, in using Maximin, ang imuhang buhaton is doing nothing, di ba? So, as what you can see, guys, lahi jud sila o kanang decision per criteria. So meaning it's really up to the decision maker kung unsa ang imuhang kanang unsa ka nga type of decision maker. Okay, ang equally likely naman katong pinaka safe, so you just get the average row for each favorable ug unfavorable. So 200,000 plus loss of negative 180,000 divided by 2. So 200 plus negative 180,000 is 20,000 divided by 2, so it's 10,000. Ang sa small plant naman, 100,000 minus 20,000 is 80,000 divided by 2 kasi dalawang state of nature, so 40,000. So do nothing is 0. So if you choose equally likely, then ang option naman nimo is construct small plant. All three criteria, guys, has different nga mga options nga gipili. So meaning ang decision making under uncertainty is dependent on what personality you have. Okay, understood? So, unsa man mo, kamo guys, asa man mo na bilang dara, Maximax, Maximin, or equally likely. Okay? So, na jud biyay mga tao po jud no nga positive as always. Okay? There's always a silver lining in every storm, for example. Okay? Nakoy uban nga devil's advocate ang gina-practice. Worst case scenario, what if inanin sa may buhaton, sa may outcome ana. Usually inaanak pud kuno say gina-consider na ko pud always ang worst case scenario para makapangandam ta sa mga pinaka kuan kanang mga maot nga mga mahitabo, for example. So part ana kanang maggahin ka og part sa emergency fund, for example sa imuha individual. Okay, so next topic is about decision making under risk, no? So each possible state of nature has an assumed probability. States of nature are mutually exclusive and probabilities must sum to 1. As what I told you, it must all equate to 100% or if it's in decimal, 1 siya dapat mag-total. So in here, you are also going to compute for the expected monetary values. I-compute nato na siya for each alternative. Kung pila kabuk imong alternative, mao po to ang number of EMV nga imuhang isolve. So, what's the formula on the EMV? So, payoff of the first state of nature. Unsa man ang payoff? Mao na katong gain or loss nga possible nga imuhang ma-attain times probability of first state of nature plus payoff of second state of nature multiplied by the probability of the second state of nature. And then, if the state of nature or if the alternative is 3 or more, continue lang nato ang equation. So, given this example again, the business expert identified the probability for a favorable market of 0.6 or 60%. Then, pag unfavorable ang market, nag-identify siya nga 40% ang chances na mag-occur ang unfavorable market. So, meaning, 0.6 plus 0.4 equals 1 or 60% plus 40% equals 100%. Now, basi mangutana na po mo sa ako, kinsa ang mag-identify sa probability. So, guys, it would be the expert or it would be the owner or it would be the analyst. So, kuan na, dili na ta maglibog-libog pa ana ha, given na siya daan, pati ang mga payoff diri Kaya ang mga expert ang mag-identify sa possible gain and losses ana niya. So, to compute for the EMV, following the formula, example, alternative 1, 0.6 for favorable market multiplied by 200,000, di ba, nga payoff, plus 0.4, tapos multiplied by loss of 180,000. Okay, so ma-minus man na siya. That's why ang answer is 48,000. Pwede ninyong tinambanon o kanang compute dira para ma-verify kung tama ba ning presentation ako no. Alternative 2, 0.6 no probability under favorable market, tapos ang payoff niya is gain of 100,000. While sa unfavorable market naman, 0.4, while ang loss niya is 20,000, ma-minus man na siya, answer would be 0.52. While on alternative 3, which is do nothing, so 0, 0 na dyan na siya, kay wala man kagibuhat dira. So automatically, the answer would be 0. So as what you can see here, what would be the highest result for the expected monetary value will be our choice under decision making under risk. So evidently, ang choice nato is construct ta og construct ta og small plan, or we need to choose alternative to given the following probability. Okay, ma'am, what if ang probability ni favorable market na himong 0.40, mabaliktad siya ba? While ang unfavorable market is 0.60. So, mas dako ang possibility nga mag-occur si unfavorable than the favorable. So, dako po possibility guys nga mausab jud ang ato ang computation diri. And dako possibility nga dili si alternative 2 ang ato ang mapili. Okay? So, to do that, you can recompute kung asa dira. So, ang last one is decision making under risk or under uncertainty. Okay? So, last summer guys, I have a consultancy outside sa isa ka cooperative diri sa Tagum City, in which nag-ask sila og assistance sa amua. We have a group kasi nga nagabuhat og kanang process manual. So sa process manual nga ilahang gipabuhat sa amua, kanang of course tagaan mi nila og stipend or kanang honorarium. Now ang gihatag ba nila nga honorarium sa amua out sa perfect information nga ihatag namo sa ilaha, enough ba to siya? Wala ba sila nadihado ato? Or dako ra ba to siya kaayo? Or is the cost of perfect information worth it sa part nila as a cooperative? So actually, there is a way guys para makompute nato kung ang deal ba namo nga gidemand sa ilaha sa cooperative is ano ba siya kanang worth it ba na para sa ilaha. So to determine the expected value of perfect information, we are going to use this formula. So EVPI is the difference between the payoff under certainty and the payoff under risk. Actually. Okay, so ang atoa dira ang kuhaon na humana naman ta kuha sa expected monetary value in the previous nato nga discussion. So diri na lang ang ato ang kuhaon, in which this is the formula, no? We are just going to settle with the states of nature. So kung pila ang state of nature nimo, mo pud na siya ang number of kanang computations nga buhaton nimo. So in this example, we have two states of nature, the favorable and unfavorable market. So we have first best outcome or consequence for favorable market multiplied by its probability na 0.60 plus best outcome for the unfavorable market multiplied by its probability na 0.40. So if you have two or more states of nature, then continue lang nimo ang kanang pag-solve ana niya. So this is an example for that. We actually recall that the best outcome for favorable market is to build a large facility with a payoff of 200,000, right? Then the best outcome sa unfavorable is of course 0. Kasi naman nga magka-loss ka. So to compute for the EVPI, we have this expected value with perfect information, 200,000 times 0.6 plus 0 times 0.4. So answer is 120,000. So if you got that 120,000, you have to deduct it with the expected with the maximum EMV of 52,000. So ang answer is 68,000. Karon, what if ang gidemand namo sa kato nga cooperative is ang bayad atong process manual nga gibuhat namo is 50,000? What if? So dihado ba ang company para sa gibayad nila nga 50,000 sa amoa? So dili siya dihado kasi based on the computation, 68,000 ang ilahang ceiling when it comes to paying for other services. Mo na siya ang beauty on deciding under certainty. Pero guys, na ay instances nga sige ni demand siya og 100,000. Okay? So, pero ang pag-compute na to is 68,000. Pero nga naman ang mga company is migo manggihapon sa 100,000. Okay, it's because there are instances guys nga ang trust nila para ana nga tao is dako kaayo. Kay they all know nga kana siya is reliable, and then kana reliable kayo ang data nga iyang ihatag sa ako. It can make or break really the company. So mao nang dako kay kog salig, bahala nag 68 ang ceiling namo pero mohatag ni og 100,000 sa iyara. Okay, it's really up to the business owner. So the most the company should pay for perfect information in this example is 68,000. Okay? So, ang decision tree naman guys, ang katong data nato, tabular data nato sa decision table, pwede ito nato ma-portray into decision tree. Katong data under decision making under risk, pwede ito nato siya mag-graphic display into a decision tree. So information in decision tables can be displayed as decision trees, and it is a graphic display of the decision process that indicates decision alternatives, states of nature, and the respective probabilities and payoffs for each combination of decision alternative and state of nature. Okay, so of course, no, ano jud kanang mas ganahan ang mga business owners or ang mga kliyente usahay nga mutan-aw by having a decision tree than having a decision table. Kay mas ma-entertain sila, pleasing to the eye siya, catchy siya, dali lang pa jud siya sabton kaysa sa atong mga tables or maghatag kag report through words. So, we have here the appropriate for showing sequential decisions pud siya ang atoang decision tree. So, let's have these fundamentals and process first. First, to make a decision tree, we have to define the problem. Second is structure or draw the decision tree. Third is assign probabilities to the state of nature in which it is the task of the expert or analyst. Then fourth is estimate payoff for each possible combination of decision alternatives and states of nature. And fifth is solve the problem by working backward through the tree, computing the EMV for each state of nature. So, pagbuhat na to sa decision tree guys, pag mag-compute ganit ta, mag-start ta from right to left. Pag magbuhat ta sa decision tree, mag-start ta from left to right. So, mura siya forward pass and backward pass, no? Pero always remember that in making decision tree, we are not using arrows here. Lines lang ang ato ang gamiton. Okay? So, ang mga terms na ginagamit nato guys is first, the alternative. In the example, we have the constructing small plant, large plant, and do nothing. Okay? So, we also have state of nature na i-identify sa problem, favorable market or unfavorable market. So, an occurrence or a situation over which the decision maker has little or no control. So, we also have these nodes na i-consider nato, no? So, dili ni siya pareha sa PERT, CPM, ng mga nodes. So, kindly take note that ang square na node diri, it actually signifies decision mode. Meaning, ang branches nga mosumpay after sa square, it means that you need to decide under that. Okay? Pag ang stem or branches nga isumpay under sa circle, no decision to be made. So that is why it is a state of nature node, out which one state of nature will occur. Okay? So wala siya kanang kuan, wala siya decision nga buhaton ana kay murag maulang na siya ang facts nga mahatag based on the given data para makahatag tag objective decision sa ato ang square. So example on how we are going to portray our decision tree by using the GETS product nga sample. Buhat tag square, sumpay ta og kaning lines or branches para ma-connect nato ang atoang mga alternatives. Then isumpay nato diri ang nodes. It signifies nga ang stem after aning nodes sa right side is mo na siya ang mga states of nature nato, di ba? We have favorable, unfavorable, favorable, and unfavorable market, as you can see. So, mao na siya. Kani nga data, gikan na sa katong gets product nga sample na to. Ang do nothing, wala na siya nagbutang na lang, pero pwede ra gud gihapon nga magbutang ka ani, magbutang mo ani, pero wala na lang baka useless na manggod. Okay, kay do nothing ra manggod siya. Okay, so to further discuss it, okay, gibutangan na nato siya label sa mga payoff diri nga side, di ba? Mao ni siya ang possible profit, loss, tapos mao ni siya ang probabilities 0.6.4, 0.6.4. Then we solve for the EMV, diri siya nag-solve, pwede pod nga isumpay nimo diri sa tunga dapit padulong didto sa right. Okay? So di ba ang answer is 48,000, while diri sa baba ang answer is 52,000. Pwede nato ni solve diri dapita. So sa zero wala na solving, it's because zero naman gud siya daan. So evidently sa decision making under risk, ang choices nato guys is ang option nga gipili nato is 52,000. Tama? Kay mao may pinakadako og expected nga value nga ma-return nato. So ang last nga part nga buhaton nato is to prune our branches. So tanggalo nato, i-cut nato ang katong mga branches nga wala nato gipili. Okay? So ang pag-prune nato inaana lang siya. So meaning wala nato gi-prune ang construct small plant, it means nga mao na siya ang alternative nga ato ang gipili. Okay? Mao na siya ang last step, and take note nga naay points ang pruning kasi it's very crucial. Okay? And by the way, additional note, do not always consider the alternative of doing nothing. Okay? Dili siya na siya at always nga i-consider nato ang do nothing. Example, kaning issue nato karon sa national issue nato with regards sa pagpadayon ba sa ato ang educational system, for example, or klase ba nato diri ipadayon ba nato siya or stop na lang sa. So because of this pandemic, dili pwede nga mag-decide nga mag-do nothing ta. Kay kung mag-do nothing manggud ta, nya uncertain kung kanus pa mo gawas ang vaccine for this pandemic, dako pud jud kaayo ang maapektuhan pag once nga ma-stagnant unya dili magpadayon ang pagskwela sa ato ang mga anak, for example, or sa inyuha nga mga students. So para sa mga dili jud maka-afford to continue studying by using this, merging into this new platform, the online or the distance education delivery, so dili lang sa mag-enroll, so wala lang sa pagsanay. Pero pag once gani nga capable ka to do the online teaching, for example, online learning, for example, so why not nga magpadayon ka sa imuhang pagskwela. Dili man pud pwede guys nga i-stop or mag-academic freeze jud ta. It would never be an option. Labi na nga uncertain ang uncertain ang ato ang vaccine kung kanus jud siya moabot, no? So dili man pwede nga magsige lang tang hinulatay ani wala tay buhaton. That is why I always agree with the Department of Education nga pag-push nato sa online learning. So in the brighter side, ang Philippines biya kay iwit na jud biya siya when it comes to the kanang mode of learning ba. Kay ang uban nga mga nasod, for example, US, Japan, Korea, normal na lang na sa ilahan ng online learning. So when it comes to shifting from face-to-face to online learning, it's not an issue for them. Kasi nasanay na sila ana, and we are already left behind. So nahimo pud siya siyang opportunity ang kaning pandemic na nahitabo sa ato karon, nahimo siyang opportunity nga verge into kanang another mode of learning. So not face to face but also the online learning. So pag once nga naa na tay vaccine, back to normal na jud ta guys tanan, I assume nga dili jud walaon siguro ning online learning. Na jud siguro ni part nga kanang mapadayon ni siya Okay, kay it's because for the growth po na siya and for the improvement of the educational system of the Philippines. Okay, so this is just a simple decision tree going back to our discussion, but we also have this complex decision tree example. Okay, so ayan lang mo kalisang, pero of course dili man ako na siya ipa ko anon sa inyo ha, di ba ko magpabuhat og inani ka complicated gud noon nga decision tree sa inyo ha. Pero I just want you to know that there is a complex decision tree na nag-exist. So katong ako ang ihatag sa inyo nga learning exercises and examination, kuan lang na siya kanang simple lang jud pod akong ihatag sa inyo no. Kay limited ra bi akong time, inyong time to study and comprehend everything. So I understand that. Okay, so that's the end of my discussion. But before we really end it, so I want you to watch this video. It's very helpful for you to understand well the decision tree. Okay, so please watch.
Have you ever had a hard time making a choice? Sometimes it can be difficult to weigh the options objectively. This is where a decision tree can help. Imagine you're going to be a vendor at the county fair, and you can choose between two options, a hot dog stand or an ice cream stand. The hot dog stand can earn up to $350 a day. The ice cream stand can earn up to $400. Which one should you choose? In this scenario, the answer is obviously the ice cream stand. But life is a little more complicated than that. For the hot dog stand, you'll need to buy supplies like buns, hot dogs, condiments, and a warmer. Let's say you spend $70 a day on supplies. And to keep it simple, let's say your stand has a 50-50 chance of success. If it succeeds, you'll earn $350, and if it fails, you'll lose $70 due to the cost of supplies. For the ice cream stand, you'll need cones, ice cream, and a freezer. Let's say you spend $100 a day, but there's a problem. You discover that it's supposed to be cloudy over the weekend. When people are cold, they don't eat as much ice cream, so the stand has a lower chance of success. In fact, you imagine it'll probably only have a 40% chance of success. If you are successful, you'll earn $400. But if you fail, you'll lose $100 due to the cost of supplies. Now, it's not so simple. Which one do you choose? Using a decision tree gives you a visual representation of what your choices are and what your potential outcomes are. To make the decision, you can use the following formula. For a given option, the chance of outcome 1 times the financial result of outcome 1 plus the chance of outcome 2 times the financial result of outcome 2 equals a figure called the expected value.
So this is the expected monetary value, guys.
Story, you can interpret the equation this way. The chance of success times the potential earnings plus the chance of failure times the potential losses equals the expected value. You can compare the expected value of different options to determine which is the best choice. So for the hot dog stand, 50% success times $350 plus 50% failure times negative $70 equals an expected value of $140. And for the ice cream stand, 40% success times $400 plus 60% failure times negative $100 equals an expected value of $100. Now which one should you choose? You want the option with the highest probability of a good financial outcome. Both options have risks, but one of these options has a better chance in spite of those risks. That option is the one with the highest expected value. In this case, the hot dog stand. Now, $140 expected value doesn't necessarily mean you will earn $140. It just means that based on the probability of success and potential earnings, the average result would be about that if you repeated the hot dog stand experiment many times under the same conditions. But there is no guarantee that you'll get an average result in the real world. So a decision tree like this one can't predict how much money you will actually make, but it can help you make an objective choice, especially when there are risks involved. It's one of the many tools you should have in your kit when you start a business, or anytime you're facing a tough decision.
Okay guys, thank you for listening and thank you for watching this video. So I hope that you have more time. I hope that you have more time to rewatch this video para ma-perfect mo sa inyong examination. So God bless everyone!